Boy, in Harvest you can't just go around killing little children in public. You're under arrest for murder in the first degree. Come with me. Okay, Steve. Consider your get-out-of-jail-free card used. You're free to go. I just got one question for you.
Yeah?
How did it feel to kill? It's something, right? To see them twitch all over, peel back their eyelids if you're fast enough, and watch the dark angel just reach right through the pupils and yank out the light inside. They're never more alone than when that happens. You can't share in it. You can only watch and try to keep from smiling.
Some rotten bitch scratched my car. My Tucker, my baby, my poor darling, my sweet cheeks. If I find out who did it, I'll kill him. Just kill him dead. I told that fool sheriff to beef up the patrols, but what does he care? Nobody cares about a limp dick fat boy. Well, I'll make them care. I'll make them care.
Did you hear that Karen disappeared? Just goes to show you what can happen without a man's stewardship in the house. It takes both a man and a woman to raise a child properly. Says so in the Bible. But try to convince Edna of that? Oh, no. And now she's lost everything. This might be a good time to drop in while she's feeling vulnerable. Bye now.
I can't stop and chat, Steve. With Karen gone, if I stop, I think I'll lose my mind. I've got to keep busy. Excuse me. I just heard that Mr. Johnson's Tucker was vandalized. You know, though I don't like to think ill of people or take pleasure in the misfortunes of others, I'd like to think it's a comeuppance for all the times that nasty man has bothered me.
Kiddo, you brought me any of them girly picture books?
No, sorry.
Oh, heck. Why should you be any different from the sheriff or Mrs. Loomis? Steve, I'd be right obliged if you could just see clear to bringing me just one of them books. Believe me, it'll be worth your time to do it. Any time, kiddo.
Did you say hello to your father for me? It's very important. Tell him. Tell him that I hope he gets better soon, and don't forget to remind him about his promise regarding the meat. I could use some good news right now. I just got the word. The order turned down my latest application. Looks like we'll be having the wedding at Moynihan's after all. So, what's new, Steve? How could anyone do something so terrible to her?
You think someone took her?
I think? Oh, no, see, it was a kidnapping. Haven't you heard? The sheriff got a ransom note. Seems someone wants to dip into Edna's larder. Too bad such a sweet little thing has to suffer. That was a terrible night. Our upstairs toilet backed up. Pete Swell came over and fixed it. My back's still sore from helping him carry his stuff up the stairs. Someone went and scraped up Johnson's car? Can you imagine? He'd step in a bear trap and chew his own leg off rather than suffer a scratched tucker. Serves the rich bastard right, if you ask me.
You might want to be extra nice to Mr. Potsdam today, Steve. He was turned down by the lodge again. Guess we're having the wedding at Mr. Moynihan's after all. Have you heard that Edna's daughter Karen has disappeared? These things happen. You just have to deal with them step by step, one day at a time. Why, let me think. Oh yes, that was the night our upstairs bathroom toilet backed up. Mr. Swell was kind enough to come over and fix it for us. It took most of the night.
Then you and Mr. Potsdam were both home.
Oh yes, we rarely step out on weeknights. Mr. Potsdam and I just used the downstairs facilities and stayed in the rest of the night and flossed together in full sight of each other at all times. And everything was fine, just fine. Give my regards to your parents.
Steve, I'm so glad you came back. What have you been doing?
I visited the lodge. Talked to the sergeant-at-arms there. He knows that there's something out of whack here. He told me if I wanted to find out what it is, I should join the lodge. I've decided to join the lodge, Stephanie. I think the answer to all our questions is inside.
That place. It's so sinister. You may be playing right into their hands. Did you think of that? Doesn't it seem like you're being herded toward the lodge?
That's one of the things I hope to find out.
I hope finding out doesn't get you killed. My faux mother keeps me up on the latest gossip. Not like she really wants to talk to me. More like she's feeding me information. For instance, she told me that Mr. Johnson's Tucker was vandalized. That's another weird thing. Every car I've seen drive by is a Tucker. There were only 31 produced. What are the odds of that?
I've always wanted a Tucker. Funny that Harvest would be full of them.
Any idea who scratched the car? Johnson was really upset about it from what I hear. I understand that a little girl is missing.
That's right. Her name's Karen.
I heard the pod parents talking about it downstairs. When did it happen?
Tuesday night.
God, that was a bad night for everyone. Tuesday, our upstairs toilet backed up. As if that wasn't bad enough, Mr. Potsdam was livid, almost irrational. Like the toilet had it in for him personally. Through the wall, I kept hearing him ask somebody named Mr. Swell whether the toilet would be fixed by dark. And when Swell said it'd take most of the night to fix, Daddy totally lost it. Swell said he'd stay all night and fix it, but that didn't seem to help. Potsdam stormed out of the house and didn't come back till next morning.
Mrs. Potsdam told me that Potsdam didn't go out on Tuesday night.
Well, I'm not lying. I saw him through the window just before dawn. When he stepped beneath the porch light, I could see he was covered with mud. That was one weird night. Guess all hell broke loose, didn't it? Come back and visit me soon, okay?
Thank God I found you. Are you alright, Karen?
I want to go home. Could you take me to my mommy's store? Or to the policeman?
Can you tell me who did this to you?
Mr. Potsdam told me he'd hurt my mommy if I told.
He won't do anything, I promise. Tell me what happened.
He made me play house. Then he dug a hole. Please, I just want to go home now. Please.
Can you tell me your address, honey?
I don't know. Just take me to the store or the policeman. Please. Mommy said to go to the policeman if I got lost. And I'm lost.
Oh my God! Karen! Thank God! What happened?
Found her in the graveyard. She was buried alive. And she claims Mr. Potsdam was responsible.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you from both of us. Here's the reward money. Take it and go. I need to be alone with my baby right now.
If it isn't my favorite son-in-law, what brings you here again? Yeah, I know what that crazy little bitch said, but it's not true. I was at home that night. Mrs. Potsdam will vouch for me. Isn't that right, Mrs. Potsdam?
That's right, Mr. Potsdam. Hello, Steve. Care to stay for some pot roast?
Forget the pot roast, Mother. Pot roast isn't for backstabbers, for persecutors. I won't share my meat with him. My meat! My meat!
It's the truth. That's why. And I think you better be going, young man, before I call your mother and tell on you.
Steve, is that you? Come to see your poor old dad?
Are you my father? Really? I don't remember you.
Please. I'm not in the mood for jokes.
I'm serious. Why won't anyone believe me?
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve. Just don't make me laugh now. Remember the stitches.
My God. What has she done to you?
She doesn't know you're here, does she? Does she?
No, I had to break in. What the hell is going on in here?
I know it's a mystery to you. The sacred things that husbands and wives do behind closed doors. Maybe we should have that special father-son talk. Especially now that you're getting married. Then listen. I can't talk very loud. It's the tracheotomy. When a man and a woman love each other very much, they go into a room alone and shut the door and bolt it with at least 3 locks and prop a chair under the doorknob so no one can get in or out. Then they take off their clothes and get out a wide variety of scalpels. Some curved, some short, all of them sharp. And then the man climbs on the woman. And then they... with the barbed wire, they...
That's all right. Don't get worked up. You need your rest.
Yes, rest. But why did you come? You must have had a reason for risking it.
I need some meat, and Pat won't give me any without your signed permission.
Good old dependable Pat. Here, son. Here's my signature. Take it to him, and you won't have any problem. Now go, son. Go quickly, before she comes back. No! Leave that there! If any of it turns up missing.
Marv, what's going on in there?
Go! Go!
So, your father okayed the meat, huh? How's he doing? Good, glad to hear it. Here's your meat, son. You run along now. A new shipment of animals has come in and it's time to start cutting.
Jeez, what are you doing here?
Just standing here, waiting to be drawn.
You just hang out here? All the time?
I'm not a person, Steve. I'm an object. You'd do well to remember that. A person is his job. Someday you'll understand that. And if you don't, it won't matter, because you'll be dead.
Dead?
Have you gotten your lodge application in yet? Good. You may survive yet. I guess you're here to steal the bolt. Not at all. That's not my job. However, since I am an object d'art, and since art should be interpreted, I'll give you a clue as to where the bolt is located. Darkness gives as darkness gets, but light invoked is light shed.
Well, that didn't work.
All right.
Welcome to our order. The hand that grips my fist. Stephanie.
Hello, dear. How are you today? By the way, I spoke with Mr. Johnson, and he's livid. Seems someone scratched up his priceless tucker. If he finds out who, there'll be heck to pay. You know those firemen? The funny ones with the color sense? Looks like they misplaced a bolt of expensive fabric. Of course, each one of them suspects the other. Looks like a catfight is brewing. Congratulations, hero. You found Karen after all.
You don't seem proud, Mother. I wonder why.
I warned you not to waste time looking for her.
Am I running out of time?
The blood drive is coming soon.
What does that have to do with anything?
If you haven't joined the lodge by then, you'll find out. Still, I'm glad you found the poor baby. She says Mr. Potsdam was responsible for what happened to her. What a silly little girl. Shame on you! Imagine accusing your future father-in-law of a thing like that. Is that how a range rider would behave? I don't think so.
Why would she lie?
Okay, Weisenheimer, even if he is a child molester, a kidnapper, and an attempted murderer, that's no reflection on what kind of father-in-law he'll be. I just can't wait for the wedding. Can you? Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy. You know how he gets.
Did you say hello to your father for me? Thank God for that, at least.
Those silly willies down at the fire station are just incensed about losing some decorating stuff. Some people. Yeah. Maybe they should be more concerned with fire and less with flame.
Steve, it's so good to see you again. I get so lonely in here.
I'm sorry. Want to hear what's happening out in the real world?
No. I'd rather forget about Harvest for a while. Come here.
Stephanie?
I feel so close to you, Steve. Like we're the only two people in Harvest. The only two real people. Do you know what I mean? I need to feel something again. This sense I have that I've known you. It's my only link to my past.
Yeah.
Maybe it's different than memory. Maybe we don't remember each other so much as we recall the feelings deep inside. Strong feelings.
Maybe the body has its own memory.
Let's find out. I want you. Make love to me. Then take me. Now. I'm glad to see you. I feel so alone, cooped up in here. You know the firemen? Someone stole some fabric from them, and they're up in arms about it. Why would firemen spend their time decorating? Only in Harvest. Is it true? You found Karen?
Yeah, just in time, too. He'd molested her and buried her alive. He couldn't bring himself to kill her outright, so he just decided to stick her in the ground and let fate take its course.
Who? Who would do that to a helpless child?
She says it was Mr. Potsdam. And I believe her.
Oh, Christ. And all this time I've been under the same roof with that thing watching me.
Take it easy, okay?
So, at least they'll be coming to take him away, won't they? Come back and visit me soon, okay?
Exquisite cloth. Its loss should trigger quite a bit of dissension amongst our gallant firefighters. Still, that is not your concern. Your next assignment is to break into the tonsorial establishment of Mr. Pastorelli and abscond with his prized barber's pole. Lack of respect for authority, a fine trait for a member of the Order. Yes, I approve, Stephen. I hope you succeed in your task. Break into the shop, steal the barber's pole, and bring it back to me. At that point, I shall give you your final task.
Yeah.
Hello, dear. How are you today? Did you hear what happened at the barber shop? Someone broke into Pastorelli's salon and took his antique barber's pole. The next morning, Pastorelli touched some live wires that the thief left lying around and was electrocuted. Well, that darn foreigner got what he deserved, if you ask me, coming into a nice little town like Harvest and stealing business. Heavens, if a bowl and scissors were good enough for your father, I don't see why decent working folk need a fancy wop styling their hair. That's how it goes. First you get a sissy trim, then bang, you're a communist. Isn't it exciting, Steve? 5 days and 1,200 cookies later, the bake sale is already here. Where does the time fly?
Those 1,200 cookies. How many are you taking to the sale?
Oh, about 20. The rest were stale. But the effort wasn't wasted. It's for a good cause. Will you be at the school tonight? Kids never think of anything but themselves. You remember, this is for a good cause.
Don't you think it's odd, having a bake sale to pay for burying out-of-towners?
Gosh, hooties, what should we do? Leave them in the streets?
Of course we should bury them. But why do so many out-of-towners drop dead in Harvest?
I have wondered about that, and I think it has something to do with the air.
But there's nothing wrong with the air. It's perfectly clean.
That's what I mean. Big city folk, they get so used to smog that clean air is a shock to their systems. Gets them every time. Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy. You know how he gets.
And here it is, the object Dodd, imported Venetian glass and Italian dreams. You have done well. An unfortunate side effect that Pastorelli was electrocuted because you left live wires in a puddle on the floor. But as those with affectations of worldliness say, c'est la vie. Yes, a barber cut down in his prime. Of course, you only wanted the bowl, but that hardly matters now. Your final assignment is to set a fire in DNA's diner and let the French fry where they may. Yes, I suggest you succeed. Beyond that, you must find your own answers. Members of the Order must be resourceful and cunning. so must you be to become one with them. Tonight, the bake sale commences. Soon, the annual harvest blood drive will be at hand, when sacrifice will be the order of the day. Your time in harvest grows short.
Think about taking some of that siding off my hands, son. I'll cut you a nice price on it. I was the one what found Pastorelli this morning, after he stepped in the water with the live wires hanging out. His body was so burnt his arms and legs was blackened, fused together, and the sheep was well done too. Problem is, both was burnt so bad, and the flesh all crisp and distorted, limbs melded, you couldn't tell 'em apart. And well, I didn't want to take a chance on eating Italian. No, sir, I didn't. I tell you, the only thing worse than a fire station full of sissies is a fire station full of peeved sissies. They're all accusing each other of stealing some silk underwear or something. Boy, whoever said fighting fire with fire'd be happy in harvest. 'Cause we got a fire station full of flamers. Nice to see you again, Steve.
I can't talk now, son. I'm busy with this game. Dang it if the whole town ain't going to hell. Poor old Johnson, defecating a work of art like that. Well, that's a sure sign that civilization is coming to an end. I guess you heard that dang idiot Pastorelli went out and got himself electrocuted. Somebody stole a barber's pole. The alarm system triggered the sprinkler. There was water on the floor this morning, and the darn crook left exposed wires out. The Pastorelli came in, flipped the switch, and then zap! Yeah, maybe them aliens is hot for colored glass after all. Anytime, Steve.
Did you say hello to your father for me? Thank God for that, at least.
You know, with a slaughterhouse full of meat in town, what kind of nutcase would steal a barber's pole? Oh well, Pastorelli won't need it where he is. God rest his soul.
I'm glad to see you. I feel so alone, cooped up in here. I understand that bake sale is today.
Yeah, you'd think it was the second coming the way everyone is acting around here.
It's insane. The maniacal attention paid to this bake sale, like all the women in Harvest came from the same cookie cutter. It's unnatural, unhealthy, almost a parody of how things should be. And through my window at night, I see my mother throwing out whole batches of cookies, like an automaton getting rid of its surplus product.
My so-called mother has been baking cookies all week, and then throwing them out. Better that than getting rid of us.
Wait around long enough. I have a feeling they'll get to it. I don't know if you heard or not, but Mr. Pastorelli, the barber, he's dead. Looks like somebody stole a barber's pole from him, then left the exposed electrical wires and some water on the floor. Pastorelli walked in, flipped on the lights, and... Know anything about that? Mr. Swell came by. I heard him telling my father about it. He said it smelled like roast pork.
Well, these things happen.
Especially around here. Come back and visit me soon, okay?
man.
Young man, we really have nothing to say to each other. I have the feeling your innards shall soon adorn my slab, and I'd rather not know the face of the meat I'm slicing. It seems that, like some elephant's graveyard, people of low station come to harvest to die. They simply drop dead, penniless, and they all need burials. Like that corpse in the chapel, all dressed up and nowhere to go. No mourners, no point. But I still must provide them with prompt burials by town charter, and absorb the losses myself. God knows, by putting these people up at the Wayward Hotel, I do more than my fair share. So why must I pay for the coffins and burial materials as well? My losses to the dead are substantial. Hopefully the bake sale will offset some of them. I do hope you'll attend the bake sale and spend heavily. It's for the needy, you know.
Sure. And all they have to do to benefit is die.
A ditch makes a poor resting place. You'll need to learn that, if you ever want to leave Harvest.
You make it sound like I have a choice.
A choice that is rapidly vanishing. Join the lodge, Stephen, while you may. The corpse reclining in the chapel right now is a prime example of the difficulties I face. For unfathomable reasons, this bum decided to wander into Harvest and summarily drop dead.
Just like that.
Indeed. He died of purely natural causes. Of that I have no doubt.
But why come to Harvest to die? You say this happens often. Isn't that a little too much of a coincidence?
I've often puzzled over the situation myself. Though I can assure you, young man, that nothing untoward is happening in Harvest. On the contrary, it's an indication of our compassion that I put up hobos in the Wayward Hotel, and the Order of the Harvest Moon mandates their prompt burial, even when they are without family or means, and when it entails losses on my part. I'd say it's been a pleasure, but I find the company of the living so wearisome. Ah, you've taken up photography, I see. Now why on earth would you choose such a grotesque subject?
That John Doe you've got boxed up in the chapel? He didn't just drop dead. Someone helped him take the plunge.
You may be right. I'm a mortician, not a medical examiner.
You don't have to be to know that being ripped to shreds can be detrimental to your health.
This is not something you want to be looking into, young man. That's what we all want.
What game are you people playing?
A game we win or lose together.
Look, are you going to tell me what I want to know, or do I go to the sheriff with these pictures?
That would be a grave mistake, I assure you. I've told you all I can. My losses have been substantial of late, so I can't offer you money. The only thing I can give you in exchange for the photographs is my tube of astro glue. I do suggest you take it, for it's all you'll get from me. A wise decision. When a wasp's nest is stirred up, it is seldom the wasps who grieve later.
Hello, Steve. So nice to see you.
Mercy, what a terrible thing to say. Isn't it, ladies?
Yes, terrible.
Buy some cookies? It's for a good cause.
Why, I never! Isn't that right, ladies?
Yes, never. What a good boy you are. Have a cookie. Derelicts and bums who wander into town who don't have enough money for a decent burial.
They deserve to be buried. It's the Christian thing to do.
That's awful nice of you. But why do so many derelicts and bums die in Harvest?
Don't be such a wise apple, Steve.
Ladies, someone has just burned down the TV station.
On the night of our bake sale?
Welcome to our order. The hand that grips my fist. Stephanie.
Hello, dear. How are you today? The nerve of some people burning down the TV station to detract from our bake sale.
I doubt the perpetrator did it just to annoy the Harvest PTA.
Coincidence? I don't think so. Just 6 months ago, the newspaper building went up in smoke. Obviously, there's a firebug on the loose. Either that or a communist. Steve, I'm so scared. Just ask Colonel Monroe at the missile base. He'll tell you. Now Now that the bake sale's over, I just don't know how I'll fill my time. Oh, I feel so useless. My goodness!
What's wrong with her?
My goodness!
Oh, it's not as bad as it looks. You just pop them back in.
See? As good as new. That tarantula she ate must have had wasp eggs in it.
Don't you think we should get her to a doctor?
What for? She's got her mother. How silly I was, feeling useless just because there are no more cookies to bake. I can still rear my brood. This is a sign, Steve. I have a purpose again.
Glad to see you're feeling better.
Mind, that fire still burns my britches. First the newspaper building, then DNA's diner, then WHAR. I sense a pattern. And any pattern I can't make a dress out of is no darn good. I suppose you heard about DNA's diner burning down? Sheriff Duane thinks it was a grease fire. We took a black eye on the bake sale, but I'm sure the Harvest PTA annual blood drive will be more successful. Overall, we made about $200, hardly enough to bury a dead horse, and definitely not enough to cover the annual blood drive.
Annual blood drive, huh?
If you knew how much blood we get, you'd be more impressed. Donations are mandatory, Steve. If you're still here come Sunday, you'll be expected to give.
Until it hurts, I suppose.
Until it hurts. Even Hank will have to donate. Of course, lodge members are exempt. Remember that.
Hey, either way, no one's sticking me with the needle.
We don't use needles. Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy. You know how he gets.
Say, can you spare a dime for a buckaroo who's down on his luck? The whole shebang just went up in flames, and I'm looking to mosey on to greener pastures, where the sunset's always golden, and there's always another savage to kill.
I've tried so hard to find an excuse to keep on fighting, but Karen and I can't go on alone any longer. This diner he left us was all we had. It was always a struggle to keep it running in such a small town. And now we've lost it. I know that I can't afford to support us now. There's only one way out. I'm sure you won't be able to understand the depth of despair that would enable a mother to put a rope around her baby's neck and push her into the air and jump after her. I wonder if I'll hear her next now. If she kicks around and takes a long time to strangle me, I'll scream, but I won't cut her down. I've got to be stronger than I ever was before. But I hope she doesn't kick. God help us and forgive us, Edna Fitzpatrick.
Could you say hello to your father for me? It's very important. Tell him. Tell him that I hope he gets better soon, and don't forget to remind him about his promise regarding the meat.
Harvest will never be the same without DNA's diner, or without DNA, for that matter.
I'm glad to see you. I feel so alone, cooped up in here. I saw the TV station go up from my window. It lighted up the whole town. It looked like hell. I wished it would consume the whole damn place. And me with it.
Don't talk like that.
I'm sorry. I just can't stand it anymore.
I wish there was something I could do.
There he is. Make love to me.
You wouldn't be taking advantage of me, Steve. I need to be close to someone right now. I'm so lonely.
I know. But I can't.
I guess I understand. But I can't say I like it. I heard that DNA's diner burned down.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Did you torch it, Steve? This had the stamp of another Lodge initiation stunt.
Maybe so, but I had nothing to do with it.
Thank God for that. She hung herself, you know. And Karen. Can you imagine? Killing your own daughter? The despair she must have been feeling to do something like that? She must have felt there was no way to carry on after the fire.
Accidents happen.
It was no accident. The sheriff supposedly found evidence that the fire was set. Are you sure you didn't...
Would I lie to you?
No, I'm sure you wouldn't. Come back and visit me soon, okay?
Hello, dear. How are you today? Don't forget to...
DNA's diner is no more, as is Edna herself. She hung herself as soon as she realized what had happened to her beloved establishment. A true entrepreneur and a credit to her nation. Come now, anyone who spoke with her for 5 minutes would have known what a tragedy the destruction of her diner would be. Still, you sought to torch her diner, and torched it is. You have proven yourself a worthy candidate for initiation. This was only a trial to determine your worthiness for testing. Your initiation into the mysteries of the harvest will soon begin. In the meantime, be patient. Protocols must be observed before initiation may commence.
How I recognize the sign?
You will know when you receive the invitation. Bring it here, and your initiation shall begin.
Hello, dear. How are you today? Oh, dear, I just heard what happened to Stephanie.
What do you mean? What happened to her?
You haven't heard? Well, young man, you march right over there this instant. She's your fiancée, after all.
Guess I can forget about the meat, huh?
What do you mean?
Your dad must have pulled some strings. Be sure and check Stephanie's pillow, you lucky bum.
What the hell are you talking about?
You'll see once the sheriff gets here. Stephanie. Things will never be the same now. Guess I'll be watching TV nights.
Okay, you can come in now, son.
My God. Is that what I think it is?
Yep, it's a spinal cord.
Is it Stephanie?
I can see a resemblance, but I can't be sure.
More pie, Sheriff?
Pie? Don't you realize what's happened?
Oh, indeed I do. I can just hear the tongues wagging at the PTA. Was it suicide?
Never heard of anyone pulling their own spinal cord out before. Off the record, I'd have to say no. No, all in all, I'd say this was death by natural causes.
Natural causes?
You can't live without a spinal cord, son. Nothing unnatural about that. Think I will have some more pie.
Right away.
I can't believe this. This is horrible.
Believe me, you get to the point to where this is routine. Now the only clue we got is that card on our pillow. Take a look at it.
This is practically a confession.
Confession to what, son?
Murder. Isn't that what you're here to investigate?
Son, you don't investigate natural deaths. No point.
Then I'll get to the bottom of this myself.
Yeah. I'm sure you will.
More pie, Sheriff?
Don't mind if I do. Can't allow you to take her remains, boy. What kind of sicko are you, anyway? I don't suppose it'd hurt for you to take the card, seeing as it was addressed to you. Shucks, I'm sorry I had to read it in the first place, but that's my job. Say, I wonder if there's more pie.
Hello, Steve. Have some pie? No, Steve. We're going to put her in the crypt. Keeping bodies in the house is just not sanitary.
Can't allow you to take...
I'm so hungry, Steve. So hungry. If I'd been an astronaut, I can afford all the meat I want, the red kind. And the young, pink kind, too.
You received the invitation, but you have not brought it.
I don't understand.
The invitation was not the card, but the spinal cord. It must be presented to me ere I allow you to enter. I expect nothing. What must unfold will. You were provided an invitation. Bring me the skull and spinal cord if you would pass to the world beyond.
What the hell are you doing?
I told you, if you were still in harvest for the annual blood drive, you'd have to donate.
What's happening here? Have y'all lost your minds?
You have only so long to find yourself. After that, if you're still a stranger, you have no one to blame but yourself. turn over this sacred dagger to you to aid you in your quest.
What is this?
You must now enter the lodge. Initiates find it a hostile place.
Are you supposed to help me or get me killed?
I'm starting you on the path of initiation to a very special, very exclusive brotherhood. I am merely the administrator of a test. Whether you view me as an enemy or a friend depends on how well you're prepared to pass.
And this thing? You haven't said what it is.
It is a special weapon. Using it will be part of the initiation. You always have a choice, Initiate. Which choices you make matter only to you. Whatever occurs in here is relevant to the great question which you cannot help but answer. What is at issue is whether in answering the question you will find the answers you seek. You will encounter those intent on preventing or prompting your answer, depending on how you look at it. While the assumption is you want to live, dying is easy and provides its own answer, but not for you.
Just tell me, is Stephanie dead or being held within?
The membership director on the second level keeps track of such things.
Oh, great. Then you are against me.
I am the Sergeant at Arms. I am here to ensure that the protocols are observed. Deviation from a protocol shall result in punishment. Remember what I have told you. Now, let the initiation begin.